Claude just dropped Claude Design 2.0, and it basically turns you into a one-person design team, landing pages, pitch decks, working dashboards.
The design tool everyone rage quit just came back begging for a second chance.
Changed, and let me go through everything. Number one, shared usage pool. Claude Design no longer has its own separate limits. It draws from the same pool as chat, code, and co-work. There's no more hitting a wall after just 2 prompts. Then number two, there's canvas editing. So you can click any element and you can edit it directly. You can
He's listing 4 upgrades and I'm actually gasping over here. The old version ate your prompts like I eat snacks, gone in minutes. Now it shares one big pool with everything else, and you can just click stuff to fix it like a normal human. It even memorizes your brand colors, so your pages stop looking like a robot's art project.
change the text, you can drag, resize, adjust color with a slider, no prompt, no token. And then we go over to number 3, that is the design system import. You can pull your real brand, the colors, the type, the components from a real code base, Figma file, or GitHub repo, and every screen is automatically on brand. Now number 4 is the two-way Claude code.
But hold on, the next step is the one thing he says decides if your designs look real or fake.
Now, let me show you, starting with the one step that makes the biggest difference. Now, this one step is the single biggest quality lever in Claude Design. If you skip it, then your outputs look like AI made them. If you do it, then they look like a real brand.
He just uploaded his colors and fonts one time, and now the tool remembers them forever. That's it. That's the whole trick. Meanwhile, I've been re-explaining my brand to AI like it's a goldfish with amnesia. Skip this step and everything you make comes out looking slightly haunted.
Now, first things first, we need to set up our design system. Without one, every project starts from scratch and it basically just guesses your brand. So every screen comes out slightly different if we go down that route. But if we have one loaded, then Claude pulls your actual colors, fonts, and button styles before it writes a single line of code. Consistency is always automatic. So
now watch him take those brand colors and turn them into an actual website that's live on the internet.
Spacing on this product section, I'll click on top of it and I'll drop in a comment, tighten the gap between product cards, and then send it to Claude, and there we go. It adjusted the whole section from that one note. Now, let us make this all real. So I'm exporting this as a standalone HTML file.
Look at this. He clicks on the page, types a comment like he's texting a friend, and the whole section fixes itself. No prompts, no tokens, no crying. Then he drops the file into Vercel and boom, a live link anyone on earth can open. My guy built a website in the time it takes me to microwave lunch.
And I'm dropping it straight into Vercel, and here it is. A live URL on the internet right now. Anyone watching this can literally open it, okay? So that is the difference between a mock-up and a product. And that is what Claude Design 2 makes possible in just one session.
And if you think that's fast, wait until you see what he does to PowerPoint next.
We found. But here's the part that most people do not expect. Look at the speaker notes on slide 1. Claude did not write generic filler. It wrote notes that reference the specific brand story on that slide. The founding vision, the sensory positioning. These are actual talking points that I can use.
The deck looks great, sure, but check the speaker notes. It wrote actual talking points about the brand story, not lazy filler. That used to be the chore I'd save for 11 at night with a sad snack. Then he hits present mode and it runs like PowerPoint, except this time nobody suffered making it.
Writing those out by hand used to be its own little chore every time I built a deck. Now, it just happens.
Quick pause here. If what I'm sharing is making sense and you're thinking, okay, but how does this actually work in a real system? I've put together a free training that walks through the exact structure and process we use. It's not theory, it's a behind-the-scenes walkthrough of how the system is set up, how the pieces fit together, and how most of the heavy lifting is already handled, so you're not starting from zero. If you want to see how it's structured and decide for yourself if it's a good fit, the link is in the description. All right, let's jump back in.
Now I'm going to go into present mode and I'm going to make it full screen. And now slides advance on click and the speaker notes are right there alongside the slide. Now this is the core functionality of
And this next part is where the pretty pictures turn into a real working app.
a new Claude Code session. Now, Claude Code already knows what we built, so I don't need to describe it again. I don't have to screenshot it. The full context is right there. Now, what I'm going to do is tell Claude Code to wire this to Supabase, and I'm going to say connect this dashboard to Supabase database.
This is the part that broke my brain. Claude Code already knows what he built. So there's no screenshots and no explaining it twice like a lost tourist. He tells it to hook up Supabase, and suddenly the pretend numbers turn into real data pulled from a real database. One sitting, one prompt, one working app.
And then create a products table, an order table, and a customer table with sample data. Pull live data into the KPI cards and the ordered tables. And as you can see, there it is. Real numbers, a real table, a real database behind it. This went from a...
Stay with me, because these last tips are how you do all of this without wasting a single token.
For you, okay? Tip number 1, switch models to save usage. You do not need Opus 4.7 for everything. Use Opus for your big generator, okay? The one where quality really matters. Then drop down to Sonnet for the refinements, the small tweaks, and the comment fixes. Do that consistently.
The trick is simple and kind of hilarious. Use the big fancy model only for the big jobs, then switch to the smaller one for tiny fixes, and stop reprompting just to move a button. Click it and fix it yourself for free. It's like paying a plumber to hand you the TV remote.
And your credits go a lot further than most people expect. Tip number 2, edit on canvas. Do not reprompt. Every time you fix something with a new prompt, you are burning tokens and you're just adding in generation time. Text changes, spacing adjustments, color tweaks.
One tool, one brand, one lunch break, and suddenly you're the whole design team. Whether you like this video or not, really hit the like button. You know why? Because I gave you the exact training for free that our paid members get. This video is going to be in the members area for the paid members, and you got it for free. So yes, don't you think I deserve a like? Go ahead, like it, share with your friends and family, subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. Make sure you switch on the notification bell button, and of course, ask your friends and family to subscribe and switch on the notification bell button. It's very important for us because we have a goal of getting 10,000 subscribers in next 3 months. And the only way we can do that is when you hit the subscribe button. Go ahead, do it. And for more money techniques, watch these videos and we will see you on the next one.